Hey YouTube, it's been a while. Before we get started with this awesome thing I've been wanting to do for a long time, I have a book. Oh yes. Oh yes, don't mind, it's banged up. It's just a sample, it's a little banged up. This is the box. Oh yes. Yeah. Yes, Cutt, the art of Cutt. It says coffee table book, but it's actually gonna say luxury with a something. It's gonna say something, but it's a luxury book for your coffee table. It has some really cool stuff in the inside. It's really big, 12 inches by 12 inches. And I'm doing a Kickstarter right now, so I need your support, even if it's $1. I mean, I want you to get the book, but even if you can't get the book, but you're like, look, I got $5 to my name. Well, maybe not to your name, pay your bills, okay? But if you got an extra $5, click the link in the description and help me get this thing off the ground. Just saying. Well, you guys haven't seen my new shirt. I got one for the J and then Asteknight, he has one. You'll see some videos with us together with our shirts on together coming soon. But we also got the mugs that has his A because he's left-handed, and then my J because I'm right-handed, which is the right way to do things. Oh yes. So this video is very self-explanatory, so I'm just gonna get started. Let's do this.
Sugar, spice, and Asteknight. Sugar.
All right, so these are the 10 styles. So that first one was my style. So I've seen people do this all throughout the internet. I'm like, this is my chance. This would be a great opportunity to draw my character, my style, and then you take that style and you do it in 10 others. Well, in this case, 9 other styles. So altogether it's 10 styles. And I was like, all right, I gotta do it. I gotta do it right. So right now, this is the sketch. So this is just sketching out how I would normally do my character. I mean, it has that cartoony look, but it has more like leaning on the like more details, like in the wrinkles and stuff. Like you'll see going forward, a lot of the cartoons, they don't have a bunch of wrinkles except a few, but they don't have a bunch of wrinkles and they don't have a bunch of like overlapping lines because they have to animate these characters, so they can't have too much going on. The simpler, the better. So my character, I mean, it has shading, it has highlights and all different type of things that typically you wouldn't do for animations, even though they're doing it a lot more now, but typically you wouldn't do that for animation because it's like, you gotta animate even the highlights, even the shadows, like it's a lot. So they typically take all that away, and you'll see that with a lot of the characters going forward. So here you got me, you know, I just did the sketch. There's like a signature, right? So I have I kind of got tan pants on right now. I got tan pants. I got, you know, my favorite color is red, but I tend to put my character in teal, blue. You know what I think that is? I think it's because we had a school uniform in high school where we had tan pants and blue shirt. And I think somehow that translated, because this is basically tan pants and blue shirt, even though it's more like tealish, I can't even speak. What's it called? Teal-ish green, but basically blue. So it's like I couldn't even leave high school. See, this is the crazy thing. Anyway, so there's always a high top fade. I always got the cut because Cutt, but also I think cuts inside of your fro is always super cool. Tan pants, brown shoes, usually use black, but I just made it brown for this look. The J has to be on the shirt, yellow, or gold really. It's really gold, but, and I put a watch, on most cases it's on his right hand, even though I'm left-handed. But, I mean, I'm right-handed, but on the left hand is where the watch usually would go. It's usually on the hand you're not dominant, okay? But on this character, I guess it's because it's marrying me, that's why it's on his right hand. But in some characters, you'll see it's on the other hand because of the way the positioning. So this one is the Powerpuff Girls style. So you'll see after this that I did a, okay, so this is the Powerpuff Girls style based upon the professor, whereas there is an actual Powerpuff Girls style that I did like a year or so ago when I got 500K. So when I got 500K, I was like, ooh, let me do my character in the Powerpuff Girl style, like as a Powerpuff Boy, I guess, in this case, right? So when I decided to do this one, I was like, oh, I can't do it again because I already did it. But I was like, all right, well, let me just at least do it in another style. Let me do the professor, because he has like more of the like really straight angles, whereas like Powerpuff Girls are like bubbly and they got these big old eyes and all different type of stuff. So 2 different styles. So for this one, I was like, all right, what can I do? So I will tell you, doing the styles actually were really quick because it was like, the lines were so clean, so I didn't have to like think too much. And it's a lot of, especially this character in particular, because it was so boxy, it was like just making straight lines. Like it was probably one of the easier, quicker ones to do. That's probably why I did it first. But yeah, so simple to do. So I just was getting that position down and just trying to follow that same look that the professor has, and then bring in the elements that were from the original like characters. So you might see areas where I like overshoot, and I'll do a tip about that, overshooting your lines in this particular situation, because if you overshoot your lines, it's easier to just erase it to get a really clean line than to try to draw it where it meets. It's better to just go past the line and then erase, and you'll get that crisp look that you would get if you did a vector. So this is not a vector, but it has that vector look because I'm doing that type of overshoot. So, and you can see I did it with the J here. But you see I did like thick lines. There's this style, they have like thick lines on the outside, but all the lines, pretty much all the lines on the inside are thinner lines. And then with the hair, it's like pitch black. There's no like, pretty much the hair is as thick as the line is in that sense. And you see I bring my character in because I'm like, I already know what the colors are gonna be. I don't have to think about it. I just plopped in the colors and then boom, that was it. So here's the old one. So this is when I got 5K. I'm at close to 30K now on Instagram. But this one is when I got 5K. I was like, I gotta celebrate that. So I was like, all right, let me take my character. So it was like I was doing a challenge before I even knew it. So I was like, let me add that in here. You'll see I did that a few times throughout this. So this one, obviously you could tell my process is a little different. That was a few years ago. So my way of thinking is not quite the same, but anyway. So it was a challenge. I remember this because their eyes are, it's not just that their eyes are big, but their pupils are big. And then they have that opposite effect, kind of like Jake off Adventure Time, where the pupil is white and the outside is black. I don't know what that, I don't know if that makes you feel like you have powers. I don't know what, it's something about that does something. I don't know. But anyway, theirs is like that. So it's just, because it's so big, it's like, if you put that circle in the wrong place, you'll find yourself looking the whole nother direction, okay? So I almost made the eyes brown here, but then I remembered that the color of their outfit is also the color of their eyes. So I decided to make sure I made the eyes as teal as the shirt is. And then I think I had this animate, so I was making the background where it looks like it's continuous. So that's why I added the J, and it's just like I think it's a star or a heart. It's a heart at the end, and you'll see it kind of like continuously going or whatever. So I did the same thing here. You can see me trying to figure that all out right now. I don't remember which one's next. Oh, what is happening? Oh, okay. Oh, I was right. I'm like, how I got more time? Oh, I had to write out the 5K. So yeah, so that was really fun at the time. So when I knew this challenge, I was like, you know what? And at first I wasn't even gonna show you. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see I did like little cool like slides to talk about my Kickstarter book, but also to engage people with this, which was really fun. I'm gonna do it again, definitely. But I didn't think I was gonna add this because it was old and I was worried the quality wasn't gonna be the same, like, because I use a bigger like file now, and then it was a little bit smaller. But actually it didn't actually look bad. So I was like, all right, well, let's put them together. So I put them together. All right, I think the next one, what's next? Let's see. Yeah, so finish it. Oh yes, okay. So similar situation where, so this is from Fairly Odd Parents, and this style, they got that half mouth, almost like the Flintstones, where it's like flat sideways. They have that thing going on a little bit. So that's always fun to do. But I drew my character as a fairy for Fairly Odd Parents, and I was like, all right, I can't do it again. Same feeling. I'm like, I can't do it again. I was like, but I would like to do that style. So I decided to do Timmy Turner type of style, like leaning his. It's similar, but their legs are different because the fairies are kind of like little blobs kind of floating and their legs are like just sitting there. whereas he's actually standing. So a little bit differences. So it's just leaning his direction. I usually make the hairline fade because that's what I usually do for the character. But I took that out for a lot of them because most people aren't animating faded situations. So I just flattened it out for some of them. For the other one, what was it? What's his name? The professor, I just made like lines in it where it looks like it's kind of fading. And you'll see people do that like on, I don't know if you've ever seen Craig the Creek, which I'll do at some point, which is a really cool show with a black main character, really cool. But anytime they had like a faded for a character, it's just like lines and then you know it's like a fade. So it's really, really cool. But I didn't want to do that for every character because it didn't feel like it would fit the style too much. But, so this one's similar to Powerpuff Girls, which is a thick outline, and then inside the details are a little bit thinner, you know what I mean? So that was definitely fun, but it's a challenge trying to like taking that one outfit and then making sure it translates to all the different styles, but it's a lot of fun. The best part in this thing was coloring, hands down. Every time it was time to color, it was so fun to like see that same color palette across the board. Like that was like, I don't know, was something about that was really, really, really fun. So that was a lot of fun. So it goes black because I couldn't see what was white. So it's really transparent. So I made it go black so I can see the white. Timmy Turner's eyes are not the same as the Fairly Odd Parents. Fairly Odd Parents, they actually have a designed circle, whereas Timmy is just color. So that's why you saw before it just was the two brown circles, because that's how Timmy Turner has his color. Actually, kind of see it here, the picture behind. So this was an old drawing. I did this. This one here was an old one. When did I do it? Maybe like a year or so ago as well. And you can see already just from the difference, like the legs are like kind of like floating and like their butt is under their legs. So, you know, it's like similar style, but a little bit of a different way about going about it. In this one, you'll see I did do the fade because at that time there was no challenge that I wanted to do. But in this case, I was like, okay, you know, let me go on ahead and do it the way you would really do it. Because if you're gonna animate it, the thing about it, if you're gonna animate something that's faded, a lot of times it's a vector, so you don't even have to worry about it. If it is frame by frame, there's like certain techniques that they use that allows it to kind of do that, because to have to like do that every time and get it accurate is not really easy when it comes to frame by frame. So that's why in animations you won't see that too often. But you know, nowadays technology, people are doing a little bit more, but you know. But anyway, so you'll see, you know, it looks kind of has that Cosmo look, obviously, because the difference between Wanda and Cosmo is that she has lashes and lipstick. I mean, and then it's pink, but other than that, it's pretty much the same character. No, there's subtle difference, like his eyebrows are thicker, she has the little swirl and stuff, but I mean, if you really just take it all away, it's all the same stuff, right? So that's what's happening with this. So you see I did the fade there. Also, I had this stupid tendency in making my hair grayish instead of just giving it that rich, darker black. And you can even see it in my animated character for like my animations. That's why I updated his style where his hair just like I look like an old man. I mean, I'm a little old man, but I ain't that old. Like, anyway. So you see I was about to add some highlights there, but I was, even at that time, I was like, no, I'm not gonna add shading because that's not what the character had. Added some things. Oh, I don't know what I was doing there. She got some ideas. Anyway, now this one is, which one is this? Gravity Falls. I never watched Gravity Falls, but the more I was looking into it, I'm like, I like this cartoon. I might need to check it out. It's funny, I didn't plan it, but like, so far, the first was Cartoon Network, the second one was Nickelodeon, and this one's Disney. I didn't plan that, but my first 3 ones was the 3 main ones that cartoons that we used to watch back in the day. So that was a lot of fun. This one, because I didn't know the show, I was really paying a lot. Like the other ones were easy because I watched the show as a kid. So it was like, it was just like I already knew it, you know what I mean? In this case, it was kind of like, I don't really know this show. So I was really looking at the details of the references of like how they design certain lines. Like, do they overshoot in certain areas? Do they not overshoot? Like some like Timmy Turner, there was no let me think, a little teeny bit, but mostly no overshooting of lines. Like the lines meet, the shirt meets where the skin meets. Whereas, and they have a little bit of that in here too, but in some of the styles, you'll see like there's a little bit of a bump of the shirt or a little bit of a bump of a certain, of the hair or something like that. So this one was really fun. It reminded me a lot of, the eyes reminded me of The Simpsons, and you'll see a little later on. Actually, it's pretty much the same eyes as The Simpsons, just the placement is different, and that's what makes it look a little bit different. But it almost looks like Simpsons eyes. But then later on, it looks more like Elmo's eyes. So it's like now it looks like if you were just look at the eyes and the nose, it looks like Elmo. So I don't know, but anyway, this was a fun style. Actually, I like the way my character looks in this style. I was like, okay. So you can see like even with the jacket, like the jacket has like a little bit more of the bubbliness. Whereas like I don't know if you see in the foot, like the line on the back goes straight, yet it still peeks out in other areas. So their style, I had to look at a lot of different characters that had the elements that I need. Like there was a girl that had like boots. So I was like, all right, let me get the boots idea from them. And yeah, so this was fun, like, you know, adding all the color. And this is why I made the decision that the bottom part will be white for the shoes instead of it's all brown. So you'll see that again. All right, Tim Burton. I had to do it. Okay, here's the thing. So when it comes to this challenge, this 10 style challenge, everybody who does it, they do Tim Burton. Why? Because it is the most recognizable style because it's so unique. And, you know, unique is a word that people love to use that's like overused. But I think Tim Burton, you get to use that because it's so different from everything we see that it's so recognizable that unique is the word for it, right? So it was easy and hard at the same time. It was easy because I didn't have to think too much. You just kind of draw it, you just feel. I know that there's a lot of unique swirls. There are, you can see it in the eyes, like really dark rings around the eyes. The pupils are usually really small. And you know, just certain things. And I would like to do it again with a clean version of his style. Like some of the, what's the movie? What's the movie with the, I'll show a picture. I'll show a picture right here. This movie, I forgot the name, but I know the picture. This one. It's his style, but it's like a cleaner version of his style. So I would like to try that too. This is like his, if you were to ever look at like his sketches, his original like sketches, I lean more that direction. But I would like to do another one where it's the clean version of his style. And I'm doing this because it's still very wacky. So you can see I'm going in. I did like a rough sketch and then another sketch. So this was the only one where the final was just pencil. I'm saying pencil because it's all digital, but a pencil look as opposed to that hard inking type of look. So yeah, this one was fun. I mean, you can't get any better than Tim Burton. Come on now. It's weird, but it's cool. So yeah, also, I did this style, which I do this for my regular drawings where I put a gray and then I go in and add the color because it's just easier that way. And I knew for this I would have to do that. Instead of trying to color pick the colors, I just put the colors that's supposed to be there and just added some overlayers to mute it down because they don't really have bright colors unless you're like, you know, looking at this. Other than that, it's usually not bright colors. All right, so then from that, from dull to beautiful, vibrant colors, the Steven Universe, even though it goes back to the regular colors I designed. But what I mean is if you ever watch Steven Universe, and if you're not watching that show, I don't understand. You know, I watch a lot of animations and stuff. You know, that's what I do. That's what I went to school for. You know, and when I watch animations, I'm not just like watching it as a show. I'm analyzing. Like when Incredibles came out, I went to the movie theater twice and saw that. One with a friend and one by myself. And I was watching it. I wasn't like, oh, this is cool. No, I was like, oh, I like how they did the trees in the background. Okay, like that's how I look at it. But this show has that type of beauty and stylistic coloring, and I love that. But then the story is like, excuse me? Did you ever take it that far? It's really, really good. So it was also a challenge to draw this. So the head is more like the main character, but the body is more like Lars and who's another one? Like Lars, it's leaning more Lars's direction, but it's like two different things going on. So that's why the head was like this big, and I kept shrinking it and shrinking it and shrinking it to match the body. This was another one where I drew my character in another style, and you'll see it after this. And I drew it more like a gem. So this is more like just a regular person in the world, and the other one's more like a gem, and it's actually more directly linked to Garnet before she got all cool when she first became a gem, and I matched it to that style. So you'll see a different color scheme, and then recently I changed the color, so you'll see that later. So same thing, doing some overshoot. There, got some hand motion going on there. So there's a lot of overshoot with the jacket, but there's no overshoot with the, oh wait, yep. There's no overshoot with the, as you see, I almost did like because there's a character where his boots are a little bit more like rain boots where they're more out, so I was about to do that, but I felt like it didn't fit. So I decided to go with this one where it's a little bit more straight and straight to the point. And you can see, once again, I'm adding all the colors in, the best part, fun part, seeing it come to life, and boom. That's it. So then you'll see the next one. So this is what I use for the final, but I drew this also about a year or so ago as well. And you'll see all the, so I was going to go this route where it's a little bit more, because that's how it is on the show. It's a little bit more dramatic. But then I was like, for this situation, let it stand. And you'll see the character behind it soon. It'll pop up when I started picking the colors. And I decided, let me not go this route. I think soon I changed it to just a standing pose. I don't know why I did that. I think I wanted it to feel a bit taller, maybe. That's why I'm not sure. But all the same elements, still got the cut, but this time no jacket, kinda. I mean, I guess it is kinda, but not really. But you'll see it's because I was trying to match the original style of the other one. That's why the color schemes are about to be completely different. So I inked it, and this was fun. This was a lot of fun too. But like I said, like I said, I did this about a year ago or something like that. I can't even remember when. So let's see, yep. So yeah, it's based upon this character, so a guy version. So with my style, it's basically my J-cut in that style as opposed to matching my colors there, if that makes sense. So when I decided to do Steven Universe again this past week, I was like, all right, let me take it and just change the color. So you'll see I'm gonna go through a color change eventually. Also, because I think I added highlights and stuff. Let me see. Did I add highlights to this one? Let's see. Yeah, I added, did some cool stuff. Yep, okay. I did highlights and shadows, but I think the final I took it off because you wouldn't have the highlights and shadows if it's an animation. But for the drawing at that time, I just wanted to do something cool. And I think at that time, Steven Universe Future was coming out, the movie was coming out. So the season 6 something ended, and then the movie was coming out, and then Steven Universe Future was the next series to that. So now you can see I added in the colors that are more towards this style, and then I think I turned off the shading. Let me see. Yep, and then I turned off the shading. So boom, and then that's more like a gem, right? It's a fused gem, so it's a fuse of two people actually. Now, the most famous. You can't get more famous in a unique style than the Simpsons. Now, you'll see, like I mentioned with the Gravity Falls, very similar. Look at the eyes. Circle that overlaps, dot in the middle, and then the nose. The difference is the nose is longer, so the placement, and then the eyes are at the side of the face as opposed to in the center of the head. So it's so funny, and I realize this even with like detailed pictures. Like I'm working on something right now of certain famous people, and it's hard. Like just one subtle change, it looks like a whole nother person. So it's the same thing with animation. These elements are the same elements. It's just a little bit of a change makes it look like a completely different style, different cartoon. So it's really awesome. I was going to exaggerate the hair, kind of like what's her name? Marge? I don't know this. I don't watch The Simpsons. I just know of The Simpsons. Okay. I was going to make it kind of long like that, but I was like, that's overdoing it. Also, I don't draw the hair as like bubbly type of fro. It's a clean cut. So to me, it's like if I was going to do that, I need to make it bubbly, and that would have threw it off a little bit. So sketched it out. Like this was a little easy for me because I've already had practice drawing this style for clients, for their graphics and tees and stuff like that. People already asked me to put this on a shirt. I'm probably going to, because on the gram they're like, so we getting this on a shirt or what? I'm like, well, you ain't got to tell me twice. So sooner than later, you'll see this and a few of the other styles on some graphic tees and hoodies and stuff like that. So, and then boom, I mean, to be honest, this character probably fits me, my real self, more than okay, so my J-Cutt character is kind of me, but it's like when I was skinny, but I ain't so skinny anymore. So this one probably fit, it got the little belly, so this one's probably a little bit more closely to my real self than my J-Cutt character. But anyway, so this one was fun to do. This one was fun. Nothing really much to this, you know, some geometric lines like on the shoulders, it's almost a perfect semicircle, and some areas where it's almost perfect circles and stuff, but and then a little give or take for the jacket and stuff, but other than that, it's pretty much it. All right, another style that has been very unique in pop culture, I think, is Adventure Time. You know, I want to do a decade. So in college, we actually had a week of different eras. So you had to draw a character style in that era. So it'd be like from the 1910s to whatever, to where we are now. We had like different decades, like the 70s to 30s, all different type of things. So I want to do that again, but with this character. If we were to do the early 2000s, this will probably have to be the style, because it was so unique, like just the little dot eyes and a little smile and like the lanky arms. Like there's a certain, this fits a certain era, I would say, more than anything. This one fits a early age era, and I might revisit that when we get to the early 2000s when I do that. So I'm very excited for that. That'll probably be the next one. And then, so this one was, you know, the thing is, I want to revisit this again because it's like this leans more of the J-Cutt style, but if we were going more with me, I would probably be more like Jake instead of, wait, is it Finn? This is Jake and Finn. So it's more like Finn instead of Jake, because, you know, I'm a little bit more stubby as opposed to long and lanky. So, but just to match the, you know, main character type of thing, I decided to go with the more Jake and Finn. Who's Jake? The main character. I'm getting my names mixed up, but anyway. So that was fun. Inking it out, you know, doing some overshooting. You see I had the little point up on the hair because I was an overshoot. And yeah, and then they always have a little butt. There's always a little butt hanging out. I don't know why. It's so funny to me. Like it's always a little butt. So I had to add the little butt. I don't know. I don't even think any other character really does it like that, but they do. Lanky arms. Their hands usually are just like little, you know, like not really much going on. So like I said, there's a style there. There's a style, and I think people took that a lot and really gravitated towards that. Yeah, added the colors, and there you go. I think we have two more. I don't know which one's next. Let's see. The jungle. Edd'n Eddy. Okay, so this one was fun because, just like Powerpuff Girls, like I drew the Powerpuff Girls in my style, right? So it's like a flip. It's like you draw them in your style, or you draw you in their style, right? So I did draw the Powerpuff Girls in my style, but same thing. I also did Edd'n Eddy in my style, but now it was time to do the flip. Their style, my character in their style, whatever. Okay. This one was kind of like the Tim Burton, where I didn't have to think too much. It's the lines, in the sketch I had to think. In the sketch I was thinking. In the inking, my hand was looser than the goose. Actually, this was probably the loosest I've ever drawn because, and you'll see it, their lines are not clean lines at all. I mean, that was a style they decided to go with because actually, now that I think I forgot about it, their lines are moving and even the line, I don't know why they did that. They're crazy. Anyway, because that's a lot. Anyway, their lines are moving. So what it means is they didn't care. They drew the line and then they drew it again, that same frame again, and let it flicker back and forth so the lines are always like wiggling. They're crazy. I don't know why they decided to do that. Anyway, I mean, that was definitely clever. That was very unique for its time to do or to decide to do for an animation that lasted that long that we actually enjoyed. So anyway, I knew to bring that in. Everything's kind of baggy. There's no like, one, because of the era. There wasn't really skinny jeans, skinny clothes back in the day, for real. But also, that's the style they had. So I had to bring that same look to the character here. I leaned more, okay, there's Ed, and Eddy. Ed, with the 2 Ds, is double, they call him double D, which is the smart one. I think I got that right. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments. This is some old stuff I'm trying to remember, okay? But double D, because they call him double D because it's Ed, E-D-D. So I leaned more with the face there with him, but the body, I leaned more with Ed, which is the 1D, which is the main character, and then Eddy is the challenged one. Let me say it like that. The challenged one, okay? Yeah, the Patrick of the group, okay? So yeah, that's the style. That one was pretty fun and simple. Now this one. So I had to really, for the Sonic one, I really had to make a decision because it's kind of like, all right, Sonic has errors too because Sonic is so old. You know, it's in the Pac-Man days. It's such an old show, a game, excuse me. So it's like, and movie. I mean, it's been everything at this point. So it's been, the style has been changed so much. So it was kind of like, all right, which one do I go with? So I think this is something I would have to revisit. I would probably do game styles and revisit the like original look of it. I think that would be really cool. So I kind of went with the 3D game version of it. I thought that was like the best route to go with, but yeah, this is going to be something we need to revisit. Also, I went with a 3D look. Now, if I had time, I should have did it in real 3D, like make a 3D model of it in Blender. That would have been really cool, but I didn't got that much time. So I just did a 3D rendering of it. So it has that, it doesn't have any dark lines of black lines around it. It just has that flushed out look. So this one took a little bit longer than all the other ones, but it was definitely a lot of fun. So this case, it was like I did the sketch first, and instead of inking, I did a really clean silhouette, and then did a clipping mask inside of that silhouette, and then blocked in all my colors first. And then I go in, I'd add shading. I'd added 2 layers of shading, so one layer of shading and then a deeper layer of shading to really push everything. And then I did 2 highlights, and you'll see it. Is that true? Yeah, I did 2 highlights, a softer highlight and then a dominant highlight. So you'll see it. So this is the first layer of shading, and now I'm getting into the second layer. It's very subtle, certain areas. And you'll see the sketch because it's a layer over top, a lower transparency. I can still kind of get an idea of the suggestions. So then you see I go in with a little bit of airbrushing. Remember, all this is digital, but you know, a little bit of airbrushing of highlights. Oh, I did, technically it was 3. I did airbrushing. I did another highlight of like softer highlights, and then an extreme highlight, which I'm doing now. And then I did rim lighting, a blue rim lighting. It's a lot. To get 3D when it's still 2D, to get 3D, you got to do a lot. So it was a lot of layers. So, and that's pretty much it, This was a lot of fun. Like I don't think you realize I've been playing this thing for a long time. I've been playing this thing for a long time. I'm like, all right, I know one day I gotta do the 10 styles. So all the artists doing it. It's so much fun. It's not easy. And when they say it's a challenge, okay? Because the thing is, as an artist, you're used to your style. So to break out of your style and try to do someone else's style is not easy. Now, as an animator, I have some training because in school, that's literally the thing we had to do. Like there was times, literally it was like, all right, we're putting the show on, draw them. They put on Tom and Jerry, draw Tom and Jerry. It was like stuff like that. So I did get a little training, but to not have done it in a while, you know. So it was a lot of fun. Don't forget the book. Don't forget the Kickstarter book. You'll see some of those styles that I talked about inside this book. And then not only with the book, you get a J-Cup bookmark. Now this is for the early bird. You get the J-Cup bookmark. In the box, I have some J-Cup pens. I'll show you the picture. And you get this, and you get a signature, and you get 5 digital downloads if you do the early bird. So you got a few more, it's like a week and a half, so go ahead and get it. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, push that notification button, because we got so much stuff coming in these next 30 days of this Kickstarter, so many cool videos. So please support your boy. $1 is still a lot of money. Even if you only got $1, help me get this thing off the ground. All right, you guys, I'll see you soon. I'm getting messages. You know what? This is not the time. All right, you guys. What are you doing? I know you're not about to leave without liking or sharing or something. I know you see that red button. You better subscribe to my channel. See you soon.